Hey everyone, today I'm going to review the Magnepan MG-1 speakers. So if you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that these have been restored by me over the course of the better half of a few days. It takes a lot of time and patience to restore these. You can check out those videos if you're interested in seeing what that's like. But now that they're done, I'm really excited and I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think they sound really cool. It's kind of different from what I'm used to. I'm used to more of a horn and woofer setup. This is very different from that. These don't have any horns or woofers or tweeters. They have wire glued to a stretched piece of plastic with a bunch of strip magnets running on the other side of it. So that's going to generate a little bit of a different sound. I think it's really cool that something that's only 2 inches thick, you can see, maybe even less than that, can generate sound so incredible. It's like nothing I've really ever heard before. So my goal for this video is to show you, the viewer, what exactly these speakers sound like to the best of my ability with the equipment that I have. So I think the best way to do that is to have a reference speaker that you may be familiar with how it sounds if you've never heard a Magnepan speaker before. The speaker I'm going to be putting these Magnepans next to in the test is a Klipsch KG-4. So the way these speakers will be powered is they will use a Marantz 2270 as the preamplifier. That'll go into this graphic equalizer, and then it'll go into a Carver M200T power amplifier. For the Magnepans, I'm going to have the equalizer set as you see it here, with the high ends turned all the way up because I think that makes them sound good. That's my opinion. And then I've got the low ends turned all the way down. And the reason I've done that is because of this guy right here. This is a 12-inch powered subwoofer. The Magnepans lack a little bit in the low range, so what helps is if you have an extra subwoofer to kind of take over all those frequencies below 50 Hertz, and then you can just use an equalizer to cancel all those out or turn them down, so your Magnepans don't have to worry about trying to produce those frequencies because the subwoofer is taking care of that for them. When I run the Klipsch KG-4's, I will set these back to normal, like so, and then I'll turn the powered subwoofer off because the Klipsch's are totally acceptable in the low range because of their 12-inch passive radiators. Now this isn't something I would normally do in a regular speaker review, but something about the Magnepans to know is that it is extremely important where you sit when you listen to them. When you're standing up, it doesn't really sound all that impressive, but the minute you sit down, the way these speakers are designed is the sound is meant to come out of them in this plane, if you will. At least I think they are. Because when you sit down, the sound you hear out of these speakers absolutely transforms, and you really begin to understand what exactly these speakers are all about. So what I'm going to do for this test is I'm going to be standing at first holding this AT2020 microphone, and then I'm going to sit down as the music is playing. And what that's going to demonstrate to you, the viewer, is how different these speakers sound when you're standing versus when you're sitting. I'm going to do the same thing with the Klipsch KG-4's, but you're not going to hear as much of a difference with those. So with that, I have 3 royalty-free tunes picked out for the video. I'm going to play each one through each set of speakers, and you'll get to hear exactly what the sound difference is. So let's go. just heard two excellent pairs of speakers through the AT2020 microphone, and let's talk about what we just heard. First, I want to talk about why I'm using the setup I'm using. I start with my Marantz 2270 preamp because it's what I have, it's what I use all the time, and it works well for that. When I first got the MG-1s, I put them through the 2270 entirely using its power amplifier, and it left something to be desired. And that's because the 2270's power amplifiers are not designed well for handling low impedance loads, like 4 ohms. These Magnepans happen to be 5 ohms, but really the 2270 is looking to handle an impedance of around 8 ohms. So what I did to fix that is I bought this M200T Carver power amplifier, which is designed to handle 4 ohm loads and does a much better job than the 2270. With the 2270 at high volumes, I'd get kind of like a distortion, or like some of the higher mids would be really harsh and not sound that great. But once I got the M200T going in here, that totally fixed everything, and it made the speaker sound extremely good at the higher volumes. And then this graphic equalizer does a lot in helping fine-tune what frequencies actually get to the Magnepans. I think that when you turn these treble guys all the way up, it makes them sound a lot better. Otherwise, they sound like they're really lacking in the high range. And then since I have this powered subwoofer, I don't need the bass anymore. So I just cut that out. The Magnepans don't need to worry about those, because then the whole diaphragm would be trying to do 50 hertz, all while making all the other frequencies at the same time. So you can get a much cleaner sound that way by taking it off of the Magnepan and putting it on this big 12-inch woofer right here. The sound you get out of these Magnepans, in my opinion, can best be described as immersive, because the speaker is big, so is the sound. It fills the entire room, and when you're in the seated position, it's all coming right at you, and it's an experience. Whereas these KG-4's, they're just good speakers. They fill a room with nice sound, and they sound great. But is it immersive? No. Like they say in car culture, there ain't no replacement for displacement. It's the same thing here. There's no replacement for a large, massive speaker. So what really stands out to me with the Magnepans is how well they produce mid-range sounds. Things like hearing the cross-sticking in the jazz tune, or the keyboards in that more ambient one, or even every instrument in that rock tune. They just do such a good job of producing those frequencies. And with the added subwoofer, it's just the icing on the cake, in my opinion. So at the end of the day, I love the MG-1s. I think they're absolutely amazing, and I'm really happy I took the time to rebuild them when I bought them broken a few months ago. So that is what I think of the Magnepan MG-1 speakers. I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you learned something, and thanks so much for watching.